Hey everybody, Jason here with another LaunchBox Developer Sessions video. Another week has gone by already. And man, it has been an incredible week. We got three huge things in for Big Box this past week. Development has been wonderful, going very, very well. And that's not it, but let's get into the some of the improvements we've made in Big Box for the past week. We added a brand new, or not a brand new, a different VLC interop engine and the one we previously had in Big Box. We're using, it's called Meta VLC instead of the VLC.net solution we were using previously. And I didn't know this solution existed, but because we're doing the live development sessions, Spectre56 on YouTube stepped up and linked it to me and told me that it existed and all this stuff. And really, it's helped improve the performance of the VLC videos in Big Box tremendously. So much better across the board. It's meant for WPF. I know I'm rattling off all these things you probably, and most people probably don't have any idea what I'm talking about. But really, what the VLC changes that we added this past week help do is make the VLC videos much more performant. They will allow us to use the VLC video playback engine to a greater extent in Big Box going forward. So if we want to do something like video backgrounds, or we can put stuff on top of the videos, or anything of that nature, we are set to do that now because we have a much better, proper solution for VLC, for the VLC engine in Big Box. So big thanks goes out to Spectre56 for letting me know that Meta VLC open source library is available. And then, oh man, big props to the guy who built Meta VLC. So that's been a huge plus. Also this week, we've come up with two new views for Big Box. And the first one is the Hyperspin type wheel for the games list. So we now have a wheel in there for the games list with the video and the details all on the right. And then with the clear logos. And then also we added a new cover flow view. This was just yesterday in the live development session yesterday, or the development live stream session yesterday. We added a new cover flow view with cover flow on the bottom and a video and game details on the top. I'm very pleased with both those views. I'm convinced none of that stuff would be as good as it is without the feedback from the community during the live development streams and the YouTube comments and everything else. So I'm really pleased with how all that stuff is going. I think those live development sessions are huge for several reasons. One, it's very motivating for me. It's fun. Another is the feedback I get from you guys. The feedback as far as what I'm working on, and the feedback as far as what to tweak, and the feedback as far as the approach that we take. Especially when working on visual features like the Big Box views and stuff like that. It's been a huge help. And then, of course, even stuff like technical suggestions have been, I mean, Spectre56 came forward and gave us a technical suggestion that has tremendously improved video playback in Big Box. So that's awesome. That's awesome. I love where we're going with the development sessions, the live development streams. And I think I'd be really stupid to give that up. So really pleased with that. But man, another reason why this week has been awesome is because we're getting so much love from the Hyperspin community. There's been a thread on the Hyperspin forums that really shows its appreciation for what we're doing as far as development. Obviously the new Hyperspin similar views. And we're seeing all kinds of Hyperspin users switch over to LaunchBox either permanently or just to try it out, or in addition to Hyperspin. So Hyperspin and LaunchBox don't necessarily have to be in competition with each other. I'm not really out to make anybody angry or replace a great product like Hyperspin, but obviously development on Hyperspin has started to stagnate. So I'm happy to be there and try and keep development going for this kind of stuff. But man, we are growing extremely quickly. In the past week, we have I mean, it's hard to know specific numbers, but in the past week we've gone up, we've grown in daily sales, in daily downloads, etc. by more than 25%. So we're really starting to take off, and I'm really enjoying um, being part of it. It's been great. So finally, one last thing before we get into community questions. Um, I just started working with Bleasby from the Rocket Launcher team, the Rocket Launcher development team, and I'm going to be working with him and hopefully the rest of the development team for Rocket Launcher to get a new proper LaunchBox Big Box plugin going for Rocket Launcher. Now, I'm not a Rocket Launcher expert, but I love what Rocket Launcher does. They really do a great job launching emulators and games in the best possible ways that you can do so, and in the cleanest way possible. And we've done a lot of work in LaunchBox to make things very clean just out of the box without Rocket Launcher. But Rocket Launcher takes it to another level. So we're I'm really excited to get a proper implementation going there. We've had people using Rocket Launcher with LaunchBox for a very long time, but it's not able to use 100% of the features because there's not a plugin available for LaunchBox and Big Box in Rocket Launcher right now. So really looking forward to getting that going. Big thanks to Bleasby for stepping in, and I'm looking forward to seeing where we can take that. So that is news for the past week. I'll go through some questions here from you guys. Ali Essa says, an idea, don't know if you know about a front end called Emulation Station. I do. I love Emulation Station. Emulation Station was really what I used primarily before I built LaunchBox and Big Box. And actually, when I built Big Box, Emulation Station was a big design influence on the original version of Big Box as well. It's the one I came from, but this one mainly created with RetroPie in mind. Now I love RetroPie, by the way. Now for RetroPie users, only they had the ability to change and create splash screens. I think it's called that opening sequence like Hyperspin has. Could something like that be done? Absolutely, especially now that we have the much improved VLC video playback engine doing an opening splash screen or an opening video animation would be relatively easy to do. But I'm interested in how many people want that. I'm torn on the video splash screens because yeah, they're cool, but they also delay you getting to your games, and you know, it might be a cool way to customize the experience though. So I'd like to know if anybody's interested in building a splash screen, has the video expertise in order to make one that's really cool and looks really good. And then also if anybody's interested, if people want that for Big Box. So let me know in the comments. And then Clive Barker, Clive, I mentioned before, he's an awesome guy. He's been with us for a very long time. He does all our Spanish translations, so big props goes out to him constantly. And he was actually also the first guy to do our translation. Anyways, to translate LaunchBox. So Clive Barker asks, what made you start developing LaunchBox and how did you get the idea? So way back in the day, like 2.5 years ago, something like that. I don't know exactly. Probably more than that now. It might be 3 years now. I was naturally playing with my MS-DOS games, because MS-DOS is probably my favorite platform because of the nostalgia I have with it, in DOSBox, and got the idea to build basically I was purchasing games from GOG, or GOG, however you want to say it, GOG.com. I call it GOG. And so really the idea for LaunchBox mostly came from GOG.com. And I think they still do it like this, but they have a game shelf on the website. So you buy these games and you get them all on a game shelf on the website. and I can attribute the idea pretty much 100% to them, because I would I was just thinking about wanting to have all my games presented like that, like I see on GOG.com. And so I set out to build LaunchBox. And originally it was only for MS-DOS and DOSBox. And really the idea is to push it on to emulators and everything else, which, I mean, all that stuff has been around forever. And now it's actually, it is what LaunchBox is. LaunchBox is the go-to solution for everything. That's one of the whole points that we've had since close to the very beginning. But originally it was only for DOSBox, and it was a community idea to open it up for everything else. So really, without the community, LaunchBox wouldn't be anything that it is right now, just because even the idea to open it up to other emulators came from the community. So it's pretty huge. But I would attribute the original idea for LaunchBox to GOG.com, because I loved the game shelf that they presented to me when I purchased my old MS-DOS games. All right, so his other question is, what would you like to develop after LaunchBox, or do you have a side project in mind apart from the games database? You know, that's an interesting question. I feel like right now we are never never going to be done with LaunchBox and Big Box. I have I mean, you look at the bit bucket, and we have a million things to do, and a million great ideas to implement. And I don't think that we're going to be done with it anytime in the next few years, 5 years. Obviously, I'll be working on LaunchBox forever, LaunchBox and Big Box, and the LaunchBox Games Database. I don't see us ever me ever stopping working on it. Oh, maybe in 10 years it'll wind down, and we'll have I'll have more time on my hands. But to be honest, the hardest things for me are the ideas. So I'm not an idea guy. I'm a guy that creates and produces something. But coming up with the ideas myself is actually very, very difficult for me. It's a miracle to me that I got the idea to build LaunchBox to begin with, and the name and all that stuff, because it was really pushing it for me to be able to come up with all that on my own. I haven't had that many good ideas over the years. I mean, I have had this other thing in the works for a long time that I've completely neglected because of LaunchBox, called HT-Speak originally, which was a voice automation solution for PCs, basically, and it lets you basically control your entire PC with your voice. And that's some pretty cool stuff. If anybody remembers that, I advertised that way early on, that was coming. And I've stepped away from it because LaunchBox has become so huge that I don't want to spend time on a new product right now. But hopefully, eventually, I can come back to that. I think a more likely thing, though, is for me to implement voice eventually. It's certainly not a priority, but for me to implement voice interactivity into LaunchBox itself. I think that will happen eventually. But that's not community requested, really, at this point. So it's not something I'm focusing on for the moment. All right, finally, one more question from Julian Torres. Jason, I want to say your product is great and I love it, and I use it as my go-to front end. I've been dabbling with Hyperspin and Rocket Launcher, and I really like Rocket Launcher, but I wanted to ask, what will running Rocket Launcher do for me that LaunchBox isn't doing for me at this moment? Thanks for all you do. So Rocket Launcher, like I said before, I'm not a Rocket Launcher expert. As a matter of fact, I don't even have a good Rocket Launcher setup running, because Rocket Launcher still, to me at least, is a challenge to configure. And I'm working, especially as I'm going to be working with Bleasby and the Rocket Launcher team to get a plugin going. Obviously, I'm going to learn this stuff. But as far as what Rocket Launcher will do for you, I do know what it'll do. It provides a bunch of miscellaneous features that make running your emulators really, really nice. For example, when you start up an emulator, Rocket Launcher will do its best to hide windows in the background while the emulator starts up. It will provide a menu on pause so that you can load state, save state, and other similar stuff there inside your emulators. It will automatically configure controls, I believe. So there's a lot of stuff that it will do, and a lot of stuff LaunchBox does as well. But Rocket Launcher may do better. For example, LaunchBox does make an attempt to hide windows when you're starting up games. In a lot of situations, it already does that. However, we haven't covered all the bases that Rocket Launcher has for that stuff. So really, I mean, Rocket Launcher's code for launching emulators is top-notch. It's the best stuff out there, and I don't have any issues admitting that. It's a great solution. I think ideally in my head, I'm not sure if this is possible, but ideally in my head, what I'd love to see is I'd love to use Rocket Launcher in the background, but make it easy to configure. And I'm not sure if we'll be able to pull that off immediately or not, but that's what I would really love to see happen, because I have trouble configuring a Rocket Launcher. But if we can automatically configure it in the background to use the best solution available for launching all your games, launching all your emulators, all that stuff, I think that's the ideal situation. So that's where we're going as far as the Rocket Launcher integration, some of the reasons why you would want to use Rocket Launcher. There's a lot more than that. There's a lot of nuances in emulation that Rocket Launcher helps with. So there's that. Finally, I want to pull out another big box. And this week, I'm pulling out Lynx 386 CD. Now, Lynx is a series of golf games for DOS. It came out in the 90s. And this is just particularly nostalgic for me because I played these games as a kid, and the graphics really were pretty advanced for the time. It was really pretty neat series. It's definitely, I mean, it's certainly not simulation because it's really hard to simulate golf perfectly, but it really does a good job simulating it as much as possible at the time. So we'll go ahead and open this up and take a look at what's in. There's some neat stuff in this box. This is one example of all the neat stuff that came in big box games in the past. By the way, I think this came out in 1995. This is Lynx 386 CD, which was the CD-ROM based version of Lynx 386 Pro, which came out, I think, in 93. And they came out with the CD-ROM based version, added some more courses, or at least one more course, and added voices from Bobcat Goldthwait, I think is his name. So silly stuff there, but it's fun. I love the Lynx series. Probably the most interesting thing that you get in this box is you get scorecards for 2 of the courses that come in the game. So this is for Harbortown Golf Links. You get their scorecard, and Banff Springs, wherever that is, you get their scorecard as well, which is pretty cool. So there's that, and then we have, of course, your registration card with just a postcard thing on the back and your typical registration stuff right there. We have a read me first README document, which actually has a good 7-8 pages to it. And then we have 2 more things. We have a big manual, which is typical for the time, that goes into everything, explains everything. And then, of course, you have your CD. And this CD, nothing special to it. It's just your typical CD. So that's it for this box, but I wanted to show it off just because I have it. I'm proud to have it, and it was nostalgic for me back in the day playing golf. Before I ever went on a golf course, I played golf with the Lynx series on DOS. I believe the game I had was, the original game I had was called Lynx, The Challenge of Golf, and that was the first one. I think it came out in like 91 or something like that. And then Lynx 386 Pro came out in 93, and this is basically the CD-ROM version of Lynx 386 Pro, which came out in 95. So that is that. Thank you guys. I hope you're enjoying these LaunchBox Developer Sessions videos. Let me know. We definitely need to keep the questions going for next week. So hit me up with questions in the comments, and I will talk to you guys soon.